Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm reading this article about Trump yesterday at Waco. I didn't watch it. Normally I would. I want to be able to speak first person from what I heard come out of his mouth. But I knew that it was just going to be this gripe fest, and he was going to repeat the same old shit to the same old group. And so really I didn't see any value in it. But then I'm flipping through my news and I see that he actually said that he was probably the most innocent man on earth. This probably makes me the most innocent man in the history of our country. What kind of a disturbed person says that? How guilty and bad about yourself do you have to feel to make that a public concept to a crowd of people that are your adoring cult members? That's just downright cruel. You know, the reports of people leaving early and all that, I think that's simply just because Donald Trump left them hanging out for so long and made them go through so much. And it was such a long day that they were just hungry and tired and wanted to go home. That's what I think. Once a cult member, always a cult member until you're deprogrammed by the truth. I I found that without me admitting my faults, the misdeeds that I've done in my life, I was unable to change. I was unable to accept that person is not the person I am today. This is why I try to instill in everyone that people can change. The dickhead that's an asshole that fucked you over, in 25 years, he may be a different person. You have to understand that time changes, but people don't unless they try. Time changes, people don't. That used to be my favorite saying. I simply mean that people have been the same for a very long time. We tend to try to find excuses and reasons for our shortcomings, and it's just because we're human. We're a biological, we are a sentient consciousness within our microtubule system. You have more tubulin than you have neurons in your brain. Our real selves, our permanent selves, reside within our microtubule system. The rest of this is a wet electrochemical machine that really doesn't give you a lot of choice sometimes into what you're feeling and the decisions you make, especially with society being how it is, not a very good teacher. Hypocrisy. That's it's For me, it makes me sick to my stomach when I see it now, right? You have people like Jim Jordan wants to punish people for not, you know, taking notice of a legitimate subpoena, trying to punish those people when he himself did exactly the same thing. And people wonder why our opinion of government is so low. Is there nothing else that you guys can be doing? And really? Anything? How about a little looking in within yourself and saying, I'm supposed to be a public servant. I'm not supposed to be here for my own gain and my own power and my own, wealth. I'm not supposed to be here for all those reasons. I'm supposed to be here doing the people's business because that's what they expected me to do. How many politicians do you think wake up and think that every day? I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I am an absolute devastatingly center independent. I don't approve of either side because it has become a tit for tat. And yes, granted, more of the loony, crazy, fucking nutbags are over on the far right. But that's not the Republican I was when I was a Republican for 35 years. I never thought that kind of shit. I wasn't, that's insane. I simply wanted my grandkids to be able to go shoot guns like I did or go hunt like I did or go mine the land like I did, right? If I want to smoke a joint, let me smoke a joint. No, give me my rights. Stay the fuck out of my business. You know what I mean? And keep everyone employed. That's your job. Keep us safe. Keep us working. Keep the economy moving. But that's been perverted for the last 50 years into this disgusting 1% owning everything. Corporate profits up 700% with wages being stagnant over the exact same period of time. The minimum wage should be $24 an hour right now. All of these things come about because people are unwilling to look within themselves and say, yep, I was fucked up. Because without that, number one, you can't find the reason, why was I so fucked up? Why did I do the things I did? Understanding that is the path to forgiveness. Knowing why is how you get over it and free it and let that shit go. And then you realize, I'm not the same person. You're shocked at the things that you did. But then when you look, you're like, well, that makes sense. That it's needed. And unfortunately, I guess being a fucking politician and a billionaire or gives us some kind of a disease. Someone needs to figure out some syndrome. But I don't see I see nothing good happening right now as far as our government, politics, law. The Supreme Court is disgusting. Their approval rating is the lowest in history. Why? For all the right reasons. We're not stupid. You just make us feel powerless. Okay? The most honest man in history. My God. So I had to straighten out a very close person to me about that, who thought Donald Trump was this wonderful businessman because he'd been listening to the wrong shit from the wrong people for so long. And I sat him down and I showed him 2 hours of Donald Trump's absolute business failures, not just his business failures, but his lack of business successes. And the fact that he screwed over every single group of partners that he was ever with. He fucked them all. And at the end of that, he was conflicted because he understood that what he'd been listening to was a giant lie. What else was a lie? But it was what was needed. It was what was needed. Of course, now he knows absolutely everything. Anyway, I had to get that off my chest when I read that. I must be the most honest man in the history of our country. It's just staggeringly. Is that crazy? I mean, what else do you call that? I mean, that's not braggadocio. That's not ego. It's not even id. What the fuck is that? That's something's wrong. So wires are crossed, something like that, because he truly believes that when he says that, those people believe him. And the fucking tragic thing is they do, but he knows better. Classic fucking cult leader. Classic. And we know that cults don't end well. So that was a startling statement. He will never change because Donald Trump will never be able to look inside and see his ill-gotten gains and the people that he's harmed. He will never look at that and examine that and try to figure out why. And it's because my dad didn't love me, like he doesn't love his kids. I mean, that's too deep for me to go into. I don't know enough about him personally. I do know that I'm 70 years old and I've watched the man since he started his first fucking business and was on TV the first time. I can tell you he's not the most honest man in the world. And to say anything even close to that shows that you have an issue and a problem. It doesn't matter that you didn't screw people over every day of your life, okay? But the trail of wreckage left behind that man is tremendous. And I think he's doing harm to our country, and he's doing harm to fellow Americans that I would otherwise like to go fishing with or hunting with or anything else. Because we have a lot in common, except when it comes to politics and believing someone and something that is so obviously a lie that I now have to view you as a cult member because you are unable to self-examine or see the truth. You completely blindly follow whatever this person says, who knows he's saying it to make you blindly follow him. So, yeah, maybe today look at some of the shitty things you've done in life and understand there's usually a reason why we did it. It's not like we're all born bad. No, we're all born pure and clean, and then we are a product of nurture, nature, and now technology or exposure, television. As soon as television and movies started, it started influencing humans until right now we see John Wick in 3 movies kills 275 people. And we look at that as fucking entertainment. Man, we are a fucked up species. Anyway, I just had to talk about this. I'm sorry. It's still, I get this feeling when I hear him saying that, I get this feeling that's so disturbing that is the beginning of something that's going to end very badly.